Hi, everyone. Can you all hear me? Yeah?
Yeah.
Great. Thanks so much for coming. My name is Will Ferris. I'm the copywriting and design assistant at the Poetry Project. And I'm so excited to be here tonight, co-hosting with my colleague, Andrea Abikaram, this evening of readings from Hala Alyan and Naomi Shihab Nye, with music by Simon Shaheen. We are so grateful to have with us our coworkers, Laura Henriksen, our event tech, Maddie D'Angelo, and our event moderator, Anna Kryenberg, and to have them with us helping tonight's event run smoothly. Before we begin the evening's program, I have a few reminders to share. Tonight's moderators are adding a link to the chat now with some helpful Zoom tips and best practices. And please note that we are recording tonight's event. You are welcome to have your camera on or off as you prefer, but if your camera is engaged, please note it's possible your Zoom square will end up in the archived recording. Tonight's event is being live captioned by Otter AI, the transcript of which you may access by clicking the red live link in the top left of your screen and selecting view stream. The transcript will subsequently open in a new browser window. And if you have any questions tonight or run into any difficulties at any point, please don't hesitate to reach out to any of us, anyone with staff or moderator after their name, and we'll be glad to get things sorted out. Anna is now adding to the chat the Poetry Project's Safer Spaces statement. Whether the room we share and make is virtual or physical, proximal or remote, we remain steadfast in building with you all a community and environment that challenges and resists ongoing imbricated structures of hierarchy and harm. We invite you to join us in this work throughout tonight's event, and may we all carry it with us well beyond this evening. If this event were taking place in person, we would be gathered together as has been done for the past 54 years in St. Mark's Church in the Bowery. St. Mark's Church stands on the site of the family chapel of Peter Stuyvesant, built in 1660. In his time as Director General of New Netherland, Peter Stuyvesant began and supervised the direct chattel slave trade to New Amsterdam. He himself enslaved 40 Africans, the most of any person in the colony. These enslaved Africans' stolen lives and labor were used to construct the buildings and streets on this stolen land. St. Mark's Church is located on the unceded homeland of the Lenape people, Lenape-Hoking. I am speaking to you from what is called Harlem, which is the unceded homeland of the Wappinger, a Munsee-speaking band of Lenape people. Anna is now putting this map in the chat, not to endorse it as complete, but to invite us all to learn continually about the land we occupy, its history and ties. As we gather across various neighborhoods and states, it is important to remember that it's not just some of the land that was stolen or some of the land that needs to be returned, but all of it. It reminds me too that to return the land is not a matter of transferring capitalist ownership, but as many indigenous thinkers have explained, a radical rethinking of belonging and ownership and centering indigenous autonomy and active relationality and responsibility. And tonight, especially and always, I'm reminded that apartheid and settler violence continues unabated in occupied Palestine, with over $3 billion in US taxpayer money sent to Israel in 2021. And I'm reminded that international policy and national policy are the same circle, that decolonial work is neither localized nor isolated, and to return the land and sovereignty here necessarily means to return the land everywhere. And with that, I'm so excited to turn to the programming of the evening, and I will introduce Simon Shaheen and Naomi Shihab Nye, and they will perform and read first, and then my co-host Andrea Abikaram will introduce Hala Alyan to close out the evening. We are so grateful to have Simon Shaheen start the evening off with some music. Simon Shaheen is an internationally acclaimed oud player and violinist. His work incorporates and reflects a legacy of Arabic music while it forges ahead to new frontiers, embracing many different styles in the process. Among his numerous awards and recognitions, in 1994, Shaheen was honored with the prestigious National Heritage Award at the White House. And recently, Shaheen received the honorary doctorate from the American University of Beirut. In Palestine, Shaheen conducts annual music workshops and residencies at major art institutions designed for young musicians. Additionally, he auditions and recruits music students from around the Middle East for the Berklee College of Music, where he is a professor of music. Since the mid-90s, Shaheen has focused on contemporary world jazz and Near Eastern music ensemble, his band whose name means arch in Arabic, which brings to life Shaheen's vision for the unbridled fusion of Arab, jazz, Western classical, and Latin American music. And we're so happy to have him tonight. And then I'll introduce Naomi very briefly, and then we'll just move right into the both of them. Naomi Shihab Nye is, along with Emily Dickinson, one of the first poets I remember reading. I imagine there are others before or with them, but they are the two I remember. I believe I first read Naomi's work when I was in 7th grade. That my child memory chooses this particular pairing is not accidental to me. What comes to mind when I think of both of their works is a radical attention and listening and patience. The very moment of the coming to mind slowed down or maybe just crystallized on the page. Naomi Shihab Nye's work is a lesson in consideration. She is a student and teacher of the quotidian and the extraordinary, of the quotidian tucked away in the extraordinary, and the extraordinary hiding in the open quotidian. Neither catechismal nor Socratic, but challenging and gracious, Naomi Shihab Nye shares with us personal and universal lessons of nature, of stillness and movement, and the politics of stillness and movement, which is to necessarily say of family and place, of her family and their places, their homes, Palestine and the United States. In her writing, Naomi holds these lines of inquiry as she does an onion or mint leaf or glove, which is to say she holds everything with a radical care, as though she wants to share it with everybody, as though everything is everything because everything is. To put Naomi's praxis of attention in her own words from the poem Mysterious World, quote, I'm standing by a creek that sends everything it knows downstream. And again, from the Traveling Onion, concerning the honorable role of the onion, which is another way to say poet, quote, for the sake of others, disappear. Naomi Shihab Nye, Palestinian American, is the Poetry Foundation's Young People's Poet Laureate, the editor of the New York Times Sunday Magazine poem, and on faculty at Texas State University. And I'm so grateful to welcome now Simon Shaheen for some music, and then Naomi Shihab Nye for some poetry here at the Poetry Project.
Thank you so much, Simone. I have always felt that you put our hearts back in our bodies and you make us feel whole again. Thank you, Simon Shaheen, for being with us tonight with the art which surpasses all other music for me and for many, many people.
Thank you, Habibti Naomi. Thank you so much.
A great honor to have you here tonight. Thank you, Simone. Thank you, Will, for the most compassionate introduction I could ever imagine. And it is such a great honor to be here. Thank you, Andrea, for inviting me. Thanks to everyone at the Poetry Project and Hala Alyan. I am here to celebrate you and to be here for your new novel. I'm so excited for that. Thank you to everyone for coming this evening. Simone, again, you will feel the chat filling up with deepest gratitude for your transporting, amazing, unbelievable, beautiful, to quote a bit, music. We appreciate you with all of our hearts. I'm Naomi Shihab Nye speaking to you from San Antonio, Texas, where so many people here in South Texas have lived before us. Elsewhere, this is a proverb at the top of the poem from Mali. No matter how far the town, there is another beyond it. We're calling out to the far town. Hope you're finding enough food. Hope your bowls are filled with fruit. Hope the night air cups your dwelling gently. Did we ever think of you enough, far town? Were we able to imagine your rivers, light lifting your leaves? Did you sometimes feel the world forgot you? You were the world as much as we were. Palestine. My grandmother knew the real treasure of the world was a pink line on the horizon, owned by none, commanded by none. Every evening she climbed a rickety wooden ladder, barefooted, to the flat roof of her very simple home, to gaze out over stolen hillsides and valleys and smile. The valleys were small next to the sky. Palestine vine. Seeds wrapped tenderly in plastic. One package said white, one green. Hand lettered and mailed by friends I never met. They grew instantly, strangely confining themselves to one corner of the red metal container, as if a metaphor. I swear I planted them all over. Exquisitely leafy vines popped forth, glory and green lengthening overnight. I didn't notice one had twined around the rungs of the table. Today, moving the pot, the biggest vine ripped out, broke off. No! How could I have missed the simple wrapping of the tendril, suggesting happiness in that exact light? Its roots remain, a broken stem. I wasn't evil, but I wasn't careful. This is what happens in the world. Now, soaking snipped vine in a glass of water, feeling the hope and weight of 70 years. Moon over Gaza. Mossab, I'm sending this out to you tonight and to all the beautiful children of Gaza. This is the moon speaking, though. That's very presumptuous. I am lonely for my friends. They liked me, trusted my coming. I think they looked up at me more than other people do. I, who have been staring down so long, see no reason for the sorrows humans make. I dislike the scuffle and dust of bombs blasting very much. It blocks my view. A landscape of sorrow and grieving feels different afterwards. Different sheen from a simple desert, children who say my name like a prayer. Sometimes I am bigger than a golden plate, a giant coin, and everyone gasps. Maybe it is wrong that I am so calm. My father, on dialysis, wrote a book about Palestine called Does the Land Remember Me? He wrote it in longhand on scraps of paper as his blood filtered through the big machine. He was not afraid to watch it circulate. Nurses and aides asked him, "What are you doing?" He said, "Planting a garden of almonds and figs, dipping sprigs of mint into glasses of steaming tea, breathing the damp stones of my old city, pressing my mind into the soul of an olive tree." What changes? My father's hopes travel with me years after he died. Someday we will learn how to live. All of us surviving without violence, never stop dreaming how to cure it. What changes? Crossing a small street in Doha Souk, nut shops shuttered. A handkerchief lies crumpled in the street, checkered maroon and white, like one my father had from Jordan, perfectly placed in his pocket under his smile for years. He would have given it to anyone. How do we continue all these days? And this is referencing the wonderful work of Natalie Diaz and something she said about 4.5 years ago. And it's a very short poem. Natalie said, "The way I see it, no president has ever been that good for my people." She was speaking of the first ones here, native residents of these hills and plains, mountains and rivers, who are shadowing us now as we grieve and complain. Forevermore. If you have everything, what do you have? Another day, a slip of time, light, dirt, remembrance. My friend saying, "Love you," last night, as I softly closed her front screen door. And this is for our year 2021, which we are well into now. But we have high hopes for you, year, because of last year. And so this is called Farewell 2020. We're so glad to see you go. We're sweeping you out the door. Bring a bulldozer. We'll roll you over 2 seconds flat, pummel your crazy zeros, trick your twos out of business. You scared me from the get-go, promising perfect vision, all that. Those of us who never had perfect vision felt skeptical from the start. We'll burn you with our matches. We'll singe you with our pain. Be gone, give us a one for the morrow. Mediterranean blue. If you are the child of a refugee, you do not sleep easily when they are crossing the sea on small rafts and you know they can't swim. My father couldn't swim either. He swam through sorrow though, and made it to the other side on a ship, pitching his old clothes overboard at landing. Then tried to be happy, make a new life. But something inside him was always paddling home, clinging to anything that floated, a story, a food, or face. They are the bravest people on earth right now. Don't dare look down on them. Each mind a universe, swirling as many details as yours, as much love for a humble place. Now the shirt is torn, the sea too wide for comfort, and nowhere to receive a letter for a very long time. And if we can reach out a hand, we better. And this is for my Palestinian city who lived to be 106 and didn't actually know the day of her birthday. So we always joked around with her about that. Every day was your birthday. If light fell gently onto the windowsill, if no one you knew was tear-gassed, if the children came home from school swinging their book bags and sat laughing, books in laps, to do the work you had never learned how to do, that was a good day. Siti placed a cut onion to her face to temper the fumes, whispering, "Tell this to the soldiers. I was born in the sliver of time, the smallest eye of the apricot, the ripple of days one to another, cast upon wind in a far place. Don't know its name, maybe 5 kilometers from here. There was a well my mother drank from on the night I was born. I think there were horses. If you want to celebrate me, start everywhere." A few poems from The Tiny Journalist, which is a book dedicated to all children who are activists in their own lives for justice, and particularly Jannah Jihad Ayad in this book, all children of Palestine, Gaza, but all places where children need to speak up. For the thousands of kids in our city right now who have recently crossed the border from Mexico, for so many people. Jannah, at 7, making videos. At 10, raising the truth flag. At 11, raising it higher. Please, could you tell us? You know, gazing into a camera can be a bridge, so you stare without blinking. People drift to the sides of the film, don't want to be noticed, put on the spot. You know the spot is the only thing that matters. What else? Long days, tired trousers pinned on roof lines, nothing good expected. It's right in front of me. I didn't go looking for it. We're living in the middle of trouble. No reason not to say it straight. Some don't consider us equal. They blame us for everything, forgetting what was taken, how they took it. We are made of bone and flesh and story, but they poke their big guns into our faces and our front doors and our living rooms as if we are vapor. Why can't they see how beautiful we are? The saddest part, we all could have had twice as many friends. Recently, the Palestinian poet Mourid Barghouti died, and his poems are very, very amazing, very beautiful, as well as his interviews. I urge you to find them. And something he said in an interview was, the beauty of a poem is to cool down the language, because the flamboyant, bombastic tone of language is for governments, generals, political parties. A poet has to do the opposite. A slogan lives only for a minute. And he said, show someone a scene, leave them to respond. This is democratic. I invite you to a window, a gallery, and leave you. Murid Barakuti. I guess I say that because people have always asked me why I would write about mint or tea or a fig tree. Separation wall. When the milk is sour, it separates. The next time you stop speaking, ask yourself why you were born. They say they are scared of us. The nuclear bomb is scared of the cucumber. When my mother asks me to slice cucumbers, I feel like a normal person with fantastic dilemmas. Do I make rounds or sticks? Shall I trim the seeds? I asked my grandmother if there was ever a time she felt like a normal person every day, not in danger. And she thinks for as long as it takes a sun to set, and says, yes, I always feel like a normal person. They just don't see me as one. We would like the babies not to find out about the failures waiting for them. I would like them to believe on the other side of the wall is a circus that just hasn't opened yet. Our friends learning how to juggle, to walk on tall poles. Yes, thank you, Mossab, for mentioning I Saw Ramallah. Such a beautiful book. And just a couple more poems from me. And that mysterious word, holy. You might as well take a rotten lemon, squeeze it in your hand, let the juice trickle down your wrist and arm, sharp bite of acidity prickling your scratches and scars, and say, I bow down to you. When the almond tree erupts into blossom without help from any people, I bow down. Here we are in the land of sacred story, chant, shrines, altars and grottos, parables, and soldiers in camouflage are carrying guns. What does that say about holy? How much power it doesn't have? Thou shalt not kill, crumpled under our feet. Whose religion would you follow? And why do they wear camouflage? We can still see them. Who are they hiding from? The guns are bigger than we are. The tanks are bigger than shrines. Tear gas canisters, grenade casings, littering graves of our ancestors in the cemetery. I bow down. You bow to the big shining platter everyone eats off together. Sit in a circle for your holy rice. Speak after me, holy eggplant, my best angel. Gratitude list. Thank you for insulting me. You helped me see how much I was worth. Thank you for overlooking my humanity. In that moment, I gained power. To be forgotten by the wider world and the righteous religious and the weaponized soldiers is not the worst thing. It gives you time to discover yourself. Lemons, mint, almonds roasted and salted, almonds raw, pistachios roasted and salted, cheese. No explosions. To enjoy fireworks, you would have to have lived a different kind of life. And I'll close with this little poem. This was written for a project we had here in San Antonio for many years and hope to return to shortly. It was called Poetry for the People, and many poets were available to write spontaneous poems, and then we would be given money, which we gave all of it, every cent of it, for years and years to immigrant and refugee and newcomer initiatives in our city. And it was very wonderful to support so many children and gardens and good things here. So someone I didn't know came up to me and said, on kind of a rough day, "Hope, write for me about hope." So this was her spontaneous poem, and it includes our dear grandson when he was 2. Thank you all for listening to me, and I am very happy to listen to Hala next. Hope makes itself every day, springs up from the tiniest places. No one gives it to us. We just notice it, quiet in the small moment. The 2-year-old kissing the window, he said, because someone he loved was out there.
Thank you so much. Oh my God. Wow. Thank you so much, Naomi, for that incredible reading, and Simone for that stunning music. It is a real pleasure to experience Naomi, Simone, and Hala's work together tonight. And thank you everyone for coming, and Will for that amazing introduction, and all Poetry Project staff and tech moderators. I'm thrilled to celebrate Hala's new novel, The Arsonists City, which has been living in my room for several weeks now. To dive into Hala Alyan's oeuvre is to enter a kaleidoscope that clicks between lovers, family members across generations, displaced through the sticky web of borders, and to have a front row seat to how the politics of the Middle East play out on the world stage, as framed by Alyan's many characters and speakers. Deft, fastidious, and frequently heartbreaking, Alyan traverses the genres of fiction and poetry with ease. Alyan's first novel, Salt Houses, traces 3 generations of a Palestinian family as they scatter across the globe in the aftermath of the Six-Day War of 1967, laced with sharp critiques of gender and a heavy, portentous mood. Alyan's 2019 poetry collection, The 29th Year, wrestles with the series of selves as made and unmade by proximal and distal geography, desire across gender and race, addiction and recovery. Amongst this multitude of selves, there is a search for a methodology for love of self and others. Alyan writes, quote, "Nothing's Freudian anymore. A cigar's a cigar. I want to love something. I want to love something without having to apologize for it. Please don't tell." Within this potent cocktail of desire, some antioxidant, others toxic, there is an ever-present inflammable queerness. As she writes, quote, "What is love if not falconry?" Since we know the exit wound is always larger, Alyan tells us that the exit wound of love, of city, of home, is a wide open vacuum that pulls everything through it. Alyan's lyric force pierces both her poetry and prose. In her new novel, The Arsonists City, this fierce lyricism underwrites the characters' reckoning with the sale of their family's ancestral home across multiple experiences of youth, generations, and aspirations. Alyan is aware of the power of her craft, and so are her characters. I found myself especially drawn to the plot of Masna's youth and acting career, how she channeled her physical desires from the real world into her stage characters as their only appropriate outlet, her powerful unspoken desires only to be released when performing on stage. Quote, "Theater is the same. It's heartbreaking because it will end, because people will become a part of the story and then be abandoned by it. She's aware of this during rehearsals as she repeats the same lines dozens, hundreds of times, learning to let her hands flutter naturally, playing with tone and volume. She's lying to a room full of people. She is going to break their hearts." And in this moment, as a reader, I knew this book would devastate me, and I absolutely needed it to. Noticing Masna's many stages to be a mirror for the world stage, Alyan explodes the container of the theater of love, desire, and irritation across the border of Syria to Lebanon, and the US to Lebanon. Sorry. And in the midst of explosive and deadly conflict and enmity of war. Alyan writes, "The Westerners drew maps. They're the reason the streets in Beirut have French names. They're the ones who set up a parliamentary structure that has distributed power unfairly. They're the reason Palestinians arrived here in the thousands in 48 and then again in 67. I want you all to remember that as we rehearse. The biggest war criminals are always off stage. They're continents away." Alyan pushes us to reckon with the oceans away colonial masterminds of conflict in the Middle East while we have a front row seat to their effects on the characters' lives we can't help but love. Hala Alyan is a Palestinian American writer and clinical psychologist whose work has appeared in The New Yorker, The New York Times, Guernica, and elsewhere. Her poetry collections have won the Arab American Book Award in the Crab Orchard series. Her second novel, The Arsonists City, was just published by Houghton Mifflin Harcourt in March 2021. Please join me in welcoming Hala Alyan to the virtual stage.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for that intro. I am so grateful to be here, and thank you for setting this up and for making this happen and for connecting everyone. And I'm really grateful to you for that. So thank you. And thank you to the whole team at Poetry Project. Thank you to Simone for that gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous performance. It just like totally lifted my heart. And Naomi, I mean, I've been like just obsessed with you for so long, and it's such an honor to be able to read in the same space as you. And I have always found your poetry to be incredibly healing and incredibly you carry a tremendous medicine with you, and the fact that you choose to share it with the rest of us is like it's a real gift. So thank you for that. Thank you to everyone who's choosing to spend their Wednesday. It's Wednesday. I don't even know what day it is. Wednesday. Thank you for spending your Wednesday night with us. I'm going to read a mixture of prose and poetry. So I'm going to start with a section from the novel. And I know we got a little bit of an intro. So I guess the summary essentially is that there's two stories. One is told in the 60s and 70s about a woman who wants to move to Hollywood and become an actor, coming of age in Damascus. And then the present day story is a family that gathers to try to dissuade the patriarch from selling their ancestral home in Beirut. And this family consists of the mother, the father, and 3 adult children, the youngest of whom is Najla, who lives in Beirut and who is a very successful musician in Beirut. And this is the first time we're introduced to her, and she is just getting off the phone with her brother, who just informed her that the whole family is coming this summer, which is not good news for her. Najla is sort of living her own life. She's queer. Her family doesn't know. She's kind of just doing her own thing and has sort of purposefully put an ocean between her and her parents. When Naj gets off the phone with her brother, she turns to the sleeping woman next to her. She opens her mouth in a silent scream. It's time to go. She swings her legs from under the covers and holds her breath as she moves through the unfamiliar bedroom, the only light a nubby candle they'd lit a couple of hours ago. It's a 1-bedroom, and Naj uses the glow from her cell screen as she makes her way down a short hallway to the bathroom. The overhead light is wincingly bright. Her parents are coming. Her sister is coming. Naj turns the faucet on and drinks straight from the tap, even though she knows the water is dirty. It makes her feel hardy and powerful to drink it anyway, like her body is made for this place. Her head is pounding, the remnants of vodka martinis in a small but quality line of cocaine. The sleeping woman is Maggie, a co-worker of Najla's friend. The damage will be minimal. They hadn't even exchanged numbers. Her friend will be annoyed about the Irish exit, but Naj needs to go somewhere she can think. Her mind, well-versed in lying after nearly 30 years of secrets, girl crushes in middle school, doctored report cards, the decision to move to Beirut, churns expertly through pretexts. Mama, Baba, she silently rehearses. I'd love to have you come, but I'll actually be on tour. Or maybe there was another bombing last week right next to downtown. I don't think it's a good idea to come, or even, and Naj likes this idea, telling them that she is planning on going to America this summer, then waiting until the last minute after they'd canceled their trip to say she couldn't make it after all. She pees. The toilet seat is cold to the touch. Her left forearm rests on her knee, the little red fox staring up at her with his pinprick eyes. Nash thinks of Maggie's, lips parted in a moan, her teeth against Naj's nipple. Thanks for nothing, she whispers to the fox. She'd gotten the tattoo on New Year's Eve, adding to a collection of nearly a dozen. But this was the first one she'd gotten completely sober. She'd watched every line of red fur, the way the needle curled the fox's tail into itself. What does it mean, the tattoo artist had asked, and Nash quoted from The Little Prince. You become responsible forever for what you have tamed. The artist seemed impressed, so Naj left it at that. Not saying that when she'd read the line again years after the first time, she thought not of an imaginary planet, but of unfamiliar bedrooms and the countless cigarettes she'd smoked listening to women cry, listening to them tell her that she was ruining their lives while she tried to look understanding, tried to explain that it wasn't them, it was her, there was just something wrong with her. The fox was a reminder that you, that is Naj, become responsible forever for what you have fucked. She got the tattoo thinking it would be a chaperone, a reminder not to pounce every time she saw a pretty face. But when you've just done a sold-out show in Byblos, the stage surrounded by Phoenician dirt as old as dirt, Phoenician ruins as old as dirt, so that you feel like a conqueror staring out at the sea of dancing, screaming bodies, your violin bow moving like Zeus's lightning bolt, as though your arm is no longer your own, because it's not. It somehow belongs to the crowd now, to the music. When you're screaming your own words into a microphone and then suddenly standing in blackness because the electricity has just been cut, because fuck it, it's Beirut, Najat started screaming. And the audience echoed her words, magnifying them 1,000 times over. When the show is over and you're at the lip of the stage with your bandmate, a large neon pink sign blazing over your heads, a combination of your names, bowing over and over, the applause like the biggest love you'll ever know. All you'll want is a body to sign your name on. Enter Maggie. She had muscled her way into the circle of people surrounding Naj at her favorite spot to hit after a show. A group of friends, her bandmate Joe and the crew, all good-looking men from Beirut, ordering rounds of shots. Naj had felt someone's hand on her arm, heard a husky Australian voice in her ear say, "You're phenomenal." Maggie looked like a soccer mom, bobbed hair, plastic glasses, but she made frank eye contact as they spoke, clearly gay, and when they went outside to smoke, she'd stumbled into Naj, who'd laughed and held on a second longer than necessary. "You've got the smile of a wolf, eh?" Maggie said too loudly. Their ears were ringing after the loud show. "It's my fucked up tooth," Nash told her the well-rehearsed story of falling when she was a child. A couple of hours later, they were naked in Maggie's bed, the other woman licking the chipped bit and purring, "I love your fucked up tooth." Now Naj walks back to the bedroom and collects her broad jeans purse, all strewn across the floor like a breadcrumb trail. One of the walls is covered with photographs. The room smells like vanilla and sex, and Maggie sighs in her sleep, Naj hurriedly finding something to write on, a receipt on the dresser. "Thanks," she begins to write, then crosses it out. "Early flight today, had to go." There, simple, non-committal. She adds a little heart, then leaves. There is no flight, of course, but Beirut's a big enough city. Once outside the apartment building, Naj lets out a comical sigh. It's nearly 4 a.m, late early, as Joe likes to say. Some of the neighborhood uncles are already out for sunrise strolls. A tired-looking man is walking a beige Labrador. Maggie lives in Jemaise, 10 minutes from Naj's apartment. She dislikes this neighborhood with its fancy bars and overpriced tea shops, the locals accommodating the influx of expats with yoga studios and European-style cafes. She cuts through one of the streets, humming one of her own songs, feeling better. The tattoo guilt dissolves like perfume in the warm air. Her t-shirt is torn and her ribcage is exposed, and nothing feels sexier than sex. Everything will be all right. She'll call her father, convince him not to come. Maybe she'll even see Maggie again in a week or two after enough time has passed so that there won't be any confusion about intentions. At this hour, the city has a narcotic effect. Ambient noise drifts from the passing cabs, a French song, the sound of a man coughing, and the few people on the street share a certain camaraderie, nodding and smiling wryly at each other. Beirut is an insomniac city, unfocused, filled with half-finished buildings and impromptu crowds. There has been a high-rise under construction on Naj's block since she bought the apartment several years ago. She'd lived in this neighborhood longer, though, since her move from America. The newer houses live dissonantly among the older, plain ones. The city doesn't change from neighborhood to neighborhood as much as building to building, and Naj is tired of remembering the former incarnations of places. The spa that was once a fabric store, the health food market that was once filled with antiques and toys. Her own apartment building is similarly disjointed. The glass entrance has been cracked since December, but there's a stupidly ornate chandelier in the lobby, refracting light on guests like confetti. The elevator hasn't worked in months. Abu Nabil, the building's cranky middle-aged super, lives in a small room next to the stairs. Someone decided to paint the stairwell a modern dark red, but then changed their mind on Naj's floor where the walls become beige. Each floor has 2 apartments, and Naj likes her neighbors, an elderly pair of widowed sisters who go out every Sunday in matching dresses and honest-to-God church hats. There's a hand-painted sign on her front door that reads, "Abandon all blank ye who enter here." The space left intentionally blank so that people can scrawl in things like Wi-Fi and bras. The sisters have never complained about her, not once. Her apartment smells stale, like something yeasty left out too long, with undertones of weed, even though she hasn't smoked in days. Near the window, an assortment of plants droop in various stages of dying. Naj always forgets them. 1 second, she promises, then trots to the kitchen and fills a mug. She goes from plant to plant, watering the dusty soil. "You get water, you get water, you get water," she sings out like Oprah. The water bubbles in the soil, then starts to drip onto the windowsill underneath. The plants remind her of her mother, of the swampy smell she'd bring home with her after a day at the greenhouse. The apartment is a 3-bedroom, too large for her, but over the years, the rooms have filled of their own volition, with guitars and clothes, and hosted a succession of friends who'd left bad exes. The electricity cuts off most afternoons, and the balcony rail squeaks anytime someone leans on it. The water runs hot for a few minutes tops, but she loves it. And more than that, she loves the idea of herself as loyal to modest living. The apartment represents her restraint. She could buy in one of the high rises, but she doesn't. Her band's ethos is folksy. Naj had once been called the proletariat's duchess on the cover of a European music magazine. To be honest, the amount of money in her Crédit Libanais account embarrasses her. Her father was furious when she bought the apartment. She was only 24, flushed from the surprising success of their first album, Proposal. It hadn't reached the United States, but sold well in Europe, taking off like a rocket in random cities, Amman, Kosovo, Athens, Riyadh. What the audiences seemed to have in common, mused the Guardian article she taped to the refrigerator, are places of censorship, corruption, oppression. The musical duo fronted by Najla creates an album of defiance with guttural lyrics, powerhouse performances, and most compellingly, a mixture of Arabic and English lyrics, so that the listener might often be unsure of what is being said, but happy to sing along. "This is stupid, Baba," her father had thundered on the phone. "Stupid. First you say you want to study in Beirut, stupid number 1. Then you say, Baba, I can't live with Jiddo, even though he is your grandfather, stupid number 2. But okay, I pay for rent for an apartment 5 minutes away from our house. Then, stupid number 3, you make some money from your little band. Okay, great. But instead of investing or saving, you want to buy your own apartment in Beirut. Baba, for what? For what? Stupid number 4. I thought that was stupid number 3, Naj mocked. The little band had heard. Baba, her father continued. It's like the saying we have in Arabic. Oh God, Naj grumbled. Her father had an irredeemable habit of quoting Arabic sayings in English. A single mistake ensures a double misfortune. Baba, Naj interrupted. I get it. Okay, I'm making a mistake. A stupid mistake, he corrected. A stupid mistake, fine, except I don't think so. My friend Joe knows a good real estate agent. It's going to be great. Can you try to be happy for me? Just practice it. To be honest, she is the only one who can get away with talking to her father like this. It's not that hard, she continues. Nash, congratulations. Oh my gosh, thank you so much, Bubba. Come on, your turn. Her father just shook his head. A double misfortune, he repeated. Okay. That's sorry. I'm top sitting my mom's dog and my dog and that dog are they're working some things out. They're going through some things. Okay. I'm gonna read some poems. I'm gonna read 3 poems. And the first one is, it's a little bit of a sad one, but I think it might be good to read it. So I'm on the cusp of my I had a third miscarriage a month and a half ago, and it was my 3rd one in the span of like 6 months. So there was like pretty intense time to be in the body. And I wrote this actually the day of the DNC. Miscarriage. What carries you? A rush of teeth, nested scorpions. I am empty. This, when I wake before dawn. This, as the light pinches through the windows. Hold your arms out and you can cradle anything. I'm in the ring. I am telling him it won't be February forever. See, if you're not careful, you'll be comforting him before you know it. Googling photographs of Mexican desert. Like this, I cradle. Like this, I mother the unmothered, a stopped clock. When I wake from anesthesia, I ask, good and mean, I need to brush her hair. Can I go now, please? Her hair. The highway back home is foggy, and I mean empty. It is good to be empty. A jug, a bowl. It is good to be a color in the morning. The jade plant turns violet. I turn away from the window. In my own hands, I bloom, and the blooming is empty. A quarter moon past its prime. Wet, I wipe from my jawline. This body, this address of muscles palpitate. I'm a polite house guest. I always have been. I rinse out my cup when I'm through with it. Okay. Thank you for listening to that. All right. I'm gonna read. No, let's read this one. Okay. So I'll read 3 more poems. This is a shortish one. Self-portrait as my mother. When the warplanes come, I pluck them from the blue sky like tic-tacs. The cupboard is always full of honey and needles around here. Merlot and Marlboros, the rumor of America around my neck. It tightens. On the 3rd day of the month, I bleed a pond. Toss a gun into its mouth. I am the gun. The chamber empties into a Feiruz song. Take the color of the trees with you. California is my safe word. A word, a wink of a car on a highway. I know a nation by its germs, its endangered water. I know the desert as an unborn son, and every night I claim him, his black hair spiky as a cactus. Give me a fate and I'll lose it. Give me a border and I'll run it crooked as a love line on a bride's palm. I sing. I mop the floors. I can't kill for enough cleaning. At the flea market, I buy mirrors and clocks, lavender seeds, bird feeders, fill my house with the belongings of dead white men. My breasts, they rise. I read the drugstore horoscopes. My moon is in Sagittarius, sun's in Acta, heaven's an empty sky, borders open, there's nothing on the other side. It isn't that God enough. This is called, well, it's the time, it's part of the line. When they say pledge allegiance, I say, my country is a ghost, a mouth trying to say sorry and it comes out all smoke, all citizen and bullet and seed. My country is a machine, a spell of bad weather, a feather lacing my mother's black hair. I mean her dyed hair, I mean her blonde hair, I mean her hair matches my country, so shiny and borrowed and painted over. My country is a number, like it is 1948, and my great-great-grandmother flattens bread with her hands, while my other great-great-grandmother prays with her hands. One watches her land disappear, the other builds a house on land that will disappear. My country is an airport line, a year of highways, an intermission. My country is Stockholm Syndrome. Is immigrant mouth saying thank you, saying please, saying my country is no country but ghost, is no man but ghost, my country is dead, my country is named the dead, is give them their letters, give them their salt. My country is a mouth trying to say pledge and it comes out all salt. My country is a mouth and nobody can pronounce my name. I mean, my country forgets my name. I mean, my country is always asking for my name, and I'm always saying it twice, spelling it like an address. My country is a number, like it is 1967 and every Arab leader is crying. Every mother is clutching the son she has left, and my great-grandmother names my mother nostalgia while my great-grandfather shows my father a gun. My country is all ghost. My grandmother is all ghost. My grandmother is a country. I mean, my grandmother is my country. I mean, my country is a lie. Is an emptied house, is 1,000 cardboard boxes. My country is, remember when we left Akka? I mean, Gaza, I mean, Homs. My country is a number, like it is 1990. My mother is crossing a border. I mean, desert, I mean, life. I'm at her heels. I'm paying attention. I'm learning to pray to a flag. I mean, I'm learning English. I mean, I'm forgetting Arabic. Or it is 1994 and I'm falling in love with a white boy, a habit I will never kick. Or it's 2006 and my grandparents won't evacuate. Won't leave another country, and all summer I dream of floods, collect bullets and love the wrong person. Or it is 2003 and I am in Beirut watching Baghdad burn because of America. I mean, I am in my country watching my country burn because of my country. Or it is 2016 and who saw it coming? Some saw it coming. Or it is 2020 and the women in Beirut are a sea. I mean, my country looks beautiful in red. I mean, I look beautiful in red. I mean, this country likes me in red. Or it is every year and my country is taken. My country is stolen land. I mean, all my countries are stolen land. I mean, sometimes I am on the wrong side of the stealing. My country is an opening. I mean, bloom. I mean, bloom not like flower, but bloom like explosion. My country is a teacher. I mean, do you want to see my passport? I mean, do you like my accent? I mean, I stole them. I mean, I stole them. I mean, where do you think I learned that from? We're gonna do one more. Take a second. So this is, you know what? I feel like I don't even need editorializing, but I was gonna read something, and then Simone, Naomi, and it just, I'm gonna end on something softer because I think I need it, and maybe other people need it too. There is a story inside my grandmother about a thunderstorm in Damascus, how the storm pecked her way through the glass like an animal returning home. And before she dies, my grandmother tells me the story is about love. And when I say I don't understand how, she says, if you wait long enough, most stories are. I am 3 years from the soil that made me, 7 years of wife, a decade from that rooftop in Jerusalem, and every morning a rain pecks its way through the window of my chest, and there is a story in my family about a woman who makes a necklace of her own teeth, wears it like a sky. There's a story about a woman who is every woman in my family, a woman who is cursed with too much memory. And in Arabic, there's a word that means bury me, but also means I love you, so let me be the first to die. There is a story in my city about a mountain that stands on her toes to see the sea. And this is how I love you. Peak and yes, and half a mile away. So close I could swim there, but I'm too afraid of the horizon. And there is a story in the silence about how when you touch someone, sometimes what you are touching is their first summer on this earth, or the gap between their teeth, or the song that's been stuck in their head since last Tuesday, a story about how when love leaves, you should still say thank you for having come. There is a story inside my grandmother, and it says, remember, a person can be bigger than a country. It says, remember, in Arabic, we don't say love, or if we do, we mean wind, or my soul, or my eyes. And yes, maybe this is where I get that codependency from, this language that makes a grave even out of love. There is a story in Beirut that I always forget to tell you about how my cities, they named their streets after their occupiers, named their worship in English and French. And you see, we are all trying to get what hurts us to love us, and in that way, change the story. Instead of praising what is still here, instead of thanking what is sleeping against my shoulder in the middle of the night, Instead of saying here is the marble countertop you chose, the nails you coaxed into that wall, instead of saying look how what is held up in our house is held up by your hands, there is a story inside January about women who wear their hair long because they like it like it dark and strong and undone. Women whose bodies rise like bread when touched, and what I'm trying to say is I like to think about you naked, so don't be shy. I like to think about what the sea must look like from up there, that view of blue and high noon. There is a story and a beginning inside that story, and it goes like this. You can gather all the arrows you flung in this life and turn them into a ladder. You can live forever at the feet of your own heart, but first, there is a story inside us, and it says that of this earth, you knew love, that it was no magic trick or ruse or mistake, that something in you woke to the wolf whistle of my name and moved towards that sound like it deserved it, that it deserved it, that it deserves it still. And in Arabic, we say, you are my moon. We say, I carry you on the top of my head. In Arabic, sometimes instead of love, we just say, my bones, my bones, my bones. Thank you so much.
Oh my God, thank you so much, Hala. Thank you so much, Naomi. Thank you so much, Simone. I am devastated in the best way. And I would like to invite our audience to unmute so you can all cheer for our amazing performers this evening. So I'm going to do that now. So everyone, please cheer on our amazing readers.
Thank you. Thank you, bravo.
Thank
you.
Gorgeous.
So beautiful.
Amazing.
Stunning. Thank you.
Don't forget to buy the Arsonists City and of course the Tiny Journalist, which I assume many of you already have that one. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming. Thank you, Will, for co-hosting with me. Thank you so much, Hala and
So
Naomi
good.
and Simone. This reading was recorded, and so it's going to be captioned, and then it'll be up on our website, so you can relive this incredible, powerful evening many, many times. Thank you so much for coming, everyone. It's been a real pleasure. And stay safe out there.